And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Translators on Air. My name is Dmitry Kornyukhov. I'm your host. Join me tonight, my incredible co-host, Helena Tereschenkova. Hi, Helena.
Hey, guys.
And our guest tonight, Volodymyr Kukharenko. Hello, Volodymyr.
Hi.
I'm sorry for keeping you guys waiting. There's been a little bit of confusion on dates and times. I guess this is what happens when you are living in different time zones. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Volodymyr here has been working in our industry for over 16 years. He started as a freelance translator, and then he moved to a position of the CEO of a translation agency. And he's also a founder of a software company. He was translating and self-training as a freelancer, editing and teaching as an editor, and managing the pipeline as a project manager. In 2010, he co-founded Technolex Translation Studio, which is still one of the leading companies in the Ukrainian market. And having the deep knowledge and the processes in translation and the translation industry as a whole, in 2014, he founded Protemos, a software startup to create the new tools and develop tools that he was missing when he was working as a freelance translator. But before we jump to the topic of our conversation today, I would like to make a few announcements. As always, the third season of Translators on Air has been sponsored by our friends at SmartCat. SmartCat have a online platform where you can get more translation jobs, and you can also use the free CAT tool. So if it's something you're interested in, check out SmartCat by clicking on the green button below this video. Or if you're watching or listening this in the recording, you can always click the first link in the description. Alrighty, we still have a few. We still have a few visitors here, even after 20 minutes of waiting. Hello, Yelena. Hello, Shayla, Marian, Yelena, Jay, Elizabeth, Anna Maria, Valentina, Maria, Rosho, Mariana, Elif, David, Natalie, Ilya, somebody under the nickname of Jon Snow. Hello, King of North. Thank you so much for tuning in. I see a few new faces here, so let me give you a quick introduction to this platform. This is a live webinar. Everything is happening in real time. You guys can use chat window on the right-hand side, or if you have a specific question for Volodymyr, Yelena, and me, you can click the orange button below this video that says "Ask a question" or "Suggest a topic," and we'll be more than happy to discuss your questions. Right, Volodymyr, over to you. What's your excuse?
Well, so I'm really sorry for what has happened, because I was thinking that we have 8 hours difference, but in fact it's just 7 hours. So I was just doing my workout in the gym when I saw when I saw email from Dmitry. And I had
so the workout turned into a warm-up actually, because you had to rush. Yeah.
So I had to jump into the car and drive as fast as I could. So
it's okay. Yeah, sometimes things like this happen, and I'm glad that you made it here in one piece, especially considering that it took you very quickly, 15 minutes. Your gym must be very close to home.
Yeah, that's true.
That was handy.
Yeah, that was handy. Right, Volodymyr, I already introduced you, but can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into this industry, and a little bit about your background?
Okay, so first I will continue talking about your sponsor, SmartCat, because we are integrated. Protemos is integrated with SmartCat. Okay, so if you're using both tools, you can use them together. Okay, so about me, how I got into this industry. Well, I was trained as a translator. I graduated from linguistic department of my university. So I was going to become a translator from the very beginning, and then I started working actually when I was a student. Then I found in-house job. Then I was advancing step by step. And in the end, I founded a translation company, and after getting a bit bored with managing the translation company, I decided to make software for the translators, which is a very interesting experience for me. And I thought that I would be able to share the processes, my approaches that I used in my career to succeed. I decided that why don't I share the same things with the industry, with the translators, with the agencies. So that's my short bio. I could be talking for hours, but trying to keep it short.
So you started out as a freelancer, and then you founded a translation company. Why did you decide to found a translation agency?
Well, there were several years between these steps, because I've worked in a translation agency as a translator. Then I was an editor. After that, I was trusted to manage the translation project, and I was recruiting translators. I was responsible for growing the volumes of for the translation company I was working in. But in 2010, I decided to leave that company and to set up a new one with people that I knew from my past job.
So you had all the necessary experience, and then you decided to go on your own, right?
Yes. So
how did you get the idea to make this particular kind of software for translators? What was your thought process?
Well, this is not the first software that we made. I'm not sure if anyone listening to me heard about Change Tracker, but that was the first tool. It was just for comparing two versions of bilingual files and get the changes report in Excel format. That was my first experience. And then, in a translation agency, I was in Technolex. We were using a different solution, but I was not completely satisfied with it. And also, I created another tool called TQ Auditor, which is intended for tracking the quality performance of translators in a team, for evaluating the translation quality. And when I came to the developers of other TMS systems, they were not really interested to start to integrate. So then I decided, why don't I make my own TMS system, and I can make it better and more simple to use. So that's it. That's how it started. It was.
So, do you have any kind of a background in software development? Because when you say I developed, have you developed it on your own, or did you have a team of software developers?
I'm not a programmer at all. I'm not an engineer at all. So the only tool I use is my imagination. That's that's the only tool that I have. Well, before Technolex, I was working in another team which was developing a similar software. I'm not sure if any one of you heard about TO3000. So I was
active user here.
Yeah. So well, I was in that team, and I was some of the ideas of that tool were mine. I can boast, and I'm the first user in the world of Project X. So I did have experience of bringing my idea to the developers. This is not the first tool that I was working on. Previously, I was consulting the developers. Now I decided to start
build a team and make something your own?
From the scratch, this tool is the result of my experience as a translation project manager, of freelance translator, and of cooperation with the other developers. Also, I had some other jobs which helped me to have more broader perspective of broader picture of what might be needed.
Mm-hmm.
I see. So, and right now the tool has, as far as I understand, the tool has two different user groups: freelance translators and translation agencies. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It has two versions, freelance and enterprise. The difference between those two versions, that freelance version does not have a vendors module. So in freelance, you just manage your projects yourself. You record what you do, what you invoice your clients, you store some files, but you cannot subcontract your job to other translators.
Mm-hmm.
If you're working not alone, if you have a team, if you have if you subcontract your projects to other translators, or if you're a company, then you need enterprise version with with the vendors module. That's the basic difference, and all the other features are the same.
So let's talk more about the freelance version, since most of our viewers are freelance translators. How can Protemos help freelance translators?
It depends on how you see your freelance job. If you think, do you think it's employment or business? If you think
business.
If you think it's employment, in employment you depend on your employer, right? You just wait until he gives you the job, until he pays you. You pray that he does so. So yes, so you just depend on him. But if you take freelance as a business, then you need the processes. The thing is that being a freelance translator does not mean translating. If you just translate, you won't become a good freelancer. You need to do lots of things, like somehow find a way to tell about yourself, like work on some marketing, like maybe have some at least create some good-looking CV, send that CV to potential customers, maybe add some blog or podcast like this to make you to add to your publicity. Also, you have to track your clients, because if you cannot rely just on your clients in terms of payment and orders. If you have one client, you may go well without even such tools. If your client pays you and you believe that he pays in time and he takes care about all your accounting, then you don't need this tool. But if you have many clients, they give you many projects. You have to watch the deadlines. You have to track. You have to invoice them. You have to track the payments. You have to remind that if they have not paid to you, you need some data. Sometimes you need to go back in time 3 months and find some file which you delivered long ago, but you know the client lost it and asks you if you can send it to him. So you need a system. You need actually every translator who takes his every freelancer who takes his activity as a business. He has some kind of tools for bookkeeping. to record the deadlines, to track the communication, to store the files, and to track the payment, to issue the invoices. Sometimes the translators use different tools, like spreadsheets, Google spreadsheets, or Excel spreadsheet, or email, or some calendars, lots of things to keep track of your single person business. But these tools, if you use them separately to track everything, they might be not synchronized. You have to record the same thing into different tools, into different files, and sometimes you get confused. So basically, the idea of Protemos is to keep track of all your client, to keep your client database, record all your projects that you are making, to issue the invoices and track those invoices, to store the files that you receive from clients and deliver to clients, and to keep track of your business. And if you keep track, then over some period of time you'll have business reports. You'll be able to see how your turnover changes over each month. You can see the share of each client in your profit and turnover. So you have a good picture of your business. And if you have such process, you are ready to scaling. I mean, if you have the intention to become agency later on, then you get ready for such process, because so if you intend to become an agency, to subcontract something, you'll need to have such process anyway, because when you are not alone, you'll need to have a system. So that's why you would need such system. There are actually this is not the only system for such kind, and some of them has been on the market for more than 10 years. It's like DO 3000 and some newer tools. So the freelancers may choose which one is more convenient. But I think that if freelancer takes his business seriously, he or she should select one of these tools to track his business.
Yeah. Actually, sorry. All right. Sorry for interrupting. Actually, we do have a question about other tools. How does Protemos compare to other tools on the market?
So the first, there are two kinds of tools, two groups of such tools. Some of them are desktop tools. The others are cloud-based tools. Protemos is cloud-based tool. Some people think it's a disadvantage. Some think it's advantage. I will talk about advantages first. So you don't need to install anything. You just have a account online, and you can log in from any computer, from any place in the world. In the future, we are going to make it even mobile compatible. Now you can log in from mobile, but it does not display so correctly. But you can use iPad to log into the system. It's cross-platform. It's browser-based, so it's cross-platform. You don't depend on Windows, Mac OS, or Android. So you just need a browser. If you use cloud-based version, you don't need to worry about updates and bugs, because if some desktop version gets updated, then you need to download and install again. With cloud versions, we just update the system, and all the users have updated system. And if there are some bugs, they are identical for everyone. There are no with desktop applications. It's there could be some bugs which are unique to every user. So it's simpler, it's quicker to start. And comparing and speaking about simplicity, we try to make it simple. We try to make it possible to start working with the system after half an hour of studying. So you just need to watch the video and browse through the quick start guide, and you'll be able to do the basic steps. So you don't need to go to some trainings, listen to webinars. It should be simple. Should be simple to use. So that's the main advantages that we see.
Yeah, amen to that. I mean, there are a lot of tools on the market, but as a user, I often not very impressed by the quality of design, because I mean, the design has evolved tremendously over the past few years, and it always seems like the translation industry or tools that are developed for the translation industry, they kind of lagging behind compared to other tools. For example, I don't know, Typeform or Dropbox or other web-based solutions that freelancers use in their businesses. They have all solid design teams, and I always felt like translation industry doesn't really focus on design much, but rather on functionality. Do you think it's true?
Perhaps on the startup phase it's true, but the design should be taken into consideration as well. The thing is, you told that the translation industry is lagging behind the general tools. I think it's natural because first you have general things which work for everyone, any kind of freelancer. It could be a translator, designer, programmer, artist, whoever he could be. But then, if the general tools are not enough, then some developers start working on more specific, more niche tools. I think it works for every industry, not only translation.
I was actually laughing when Dmitry started talking about design, because while you were talking about the advantages of Protemos, I checked out the website of TO3000, and the website looks like something from the 90s. It's in the footer of the website you can see the dates. Well, not the dates, the years, 1998, and I think that was the time, around that time the website was created. And I'm not sure. I haven't used TO3000, so I don't know what the interface looks like. But well, comparing the websites of Protemos and TO3000, I think that Protemos wins. Just
yeah. Speaking, if you speak about the design of the website, I was understanding from the beginning that design matters. Actually, we worked with a very good web design team. You can see their logo in the somewhere in the footer. We were working with them with several projects, and they were making a really good design for the website. Because I understand that the first impression matters. I mean, if you're doing something really cool, but it looks like if it looks amateurish, I mean, the website, then you may not want to discover the cool features it has.
Yeah.
So yes.
But sometimes there are other problems. Then something looks like an eye candy, but when you wrap it up, when you open it, it doesn't have any kind of useful functionality at all. So,
yes, this is two aspects. The first is the quality of product. The second is the quality of marketing. You should have both of high quality. If you have just good marketing, okay, you attract the audience, but then you just lose them when start trying the product. If you don't have good marketing but you have good product, no one may know that you have a good product. So
yeah, it just will be difficult to discover.
Yeah.
All right. Earlier, you've mentioned that Protemos is a cloud-based solution, and as far as I know, a lot of people in our profession are always on the fence when using a cloud-based solution because, well, you're gonna steal my translation memory, you're gonna steal information about my clients, you'll start spamming them, etc., etc. So there are a whole bunch of fears that some professionals in our industry have about cloud-based solution. What about Protemos? Is it safe to use Protemos, and how do you deal with people who don't want to use it because it's cloud-based?
So if the person is firmly convinced that he should never ever use it, then I can do nothing with that. Speaking about the safety and the privacy and the safety of use of cloud systems usage, actually it is safer than desktop application. Once someone thinks that downloading exe file is safer than registering an account in online. There could be anything in that exe file. It can be even worse. Someone can create that exe file to crawl into your computer and know everything about your personal life. While in cloud, they will, if they steal your password, they will not just know some piece of information. Speaking about the data storage, your hard disk can just break, and you will lose your data unless you have backups. In cloud service, all cloud services normally have the backups. So if anything happens, you'll lose just 1 day or several hours of data that you entered. Speaking about Protemos, we have privacy policy. Everyone can read it and see that we take obligations not to go inside the accounts, not to use this information, and not to process it in any way for ourselves. So everything inside your account is yours. Your clients, your prices, your files, it's all yours. We understand that this is a sensitive issue, and we protect it. We had reliable hosting. We have reliable. The connection is encrypted. It's HTTPS protocol, and we take care about that because it's, after all, it's our reputation. This is all what actually all fears about cloud solutions, they disappear when there is a reputation. Why don't you afraid of Facebook? Why don't you afraid of Google Drive? And everyone knows that Google reads your emails, but still you use Google, it's okay. You know that Facebook knows about everything about your personality and can push some very well-targeted ads to you, but it's okay because it's reputation, because they have the brand, they have some kind of trust, because you believe that with these cloud solutions it's relatively safe. It's a matter of okay.
I think the argument that people will bring forward is that when we're using Facebook, we don't send clients files via Facebook. And basically everyone nowadays, or at least many professional translators, argue that if you are a professional, you should have you shouldn't use a Gmail address, email address, and you should have your own address. So that's why it's well, at least probably it doesn't apply to Gmail that much, but to Facebook, it's your argument about Facebook doesn't apply to this whole situation, because we use Facebook for our personal purposes, and when we're working, we are dealing with our clients' confidential files. So.
Yes, but in reality, I think many translators, many freelancers use cloud services for business, for work, like Dropbox. Anyway, you need some. Yeah, I was talking about, for example, I was talking about desktop applications, and if you want to keep your data, if you want to prevent losing your data, you would use some cloud solutions for storing files. In case if your hard drive just
right,
yeah. So you'll use some kind of cloud storage anyway, or you can rely on your computer, or you can build a sophisticated backup RAID system on your computer. You can buy additional hard drive and copy everything to it. So this could be the solution. But do you really want to follow that way? And there is one more one more advantage of cloud systems. Desktop systems are standalone. They just working alone. Each desktop system has some function that you use for. For example, you use Word for creating the documents, but in cloud solutions, there is possibility of integrations of different cloud solutions. For example, Protemos is integrated with SmartCAD, and you can create project in Protemos, and then with a single click of a button, you create the copy of this project in SmartCAD, so you don't have to enter the data twice. This is not possible in desktop applications. Sometimes they might have some kind of integrations, but it's much more complicated than with cloud solutions.
Speaking about the features and the functionality, what is your favorite feature of Protemos?
I never thought about that. Well, the most basic feature, there are two kinds of features. First feature is about production, about recording the deadlines. The second feature is about finances, of invoicing and getting the tracking the payments. So these are the basic features. But to tell if they are my favorite, they are all just necessary.
I see.
I cannot tell which hand is my favorite. You know, I need them both.
You can say they are all your favorites. You love them all equally.
Yeah.
I wonder. You mentioned that freelancers can send invoices via Protemos.
Yes.
How those invoices are paid? Are they paid through your system, or it's absolutely separate? For example, via PayPal or something else, like bank transfer?
Basically the system just creates. First, it creates the record in your database that you have issued the invoices. Then you may send the invoice in PDF. It generates PDF invoice in PDF format. And you may click the button to send the invoice directly to your client directly from the system. The system generates standard message like, dear client name, hereby I am sending the invoice number, blah, 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 for the jobs that we did for your company, etc. And you just hit the button, and the message is sent to the client. So then no one yet pays through Protemos. You just get the payment to your bank account or PayPal account or any other kind of account that you might be using, and you just enter the payment into the system. Okay, this one has paid me $300, and this payment is linked to this invoice, and that's it. So you enter the payments manually, basically.
I see. Do you have any plans to integrate payment systems into Protemos?
We have lots of plans, lots of ideas. It's we have hundreds of requests. Every day we get the ideas from our users. They all tell how they would like the system to work, and integrating payment system is one of the requests that is recorded in our request tracking system. But I think that it will not happen in the near future. It's later perspective. But if we have the resources for that, why not?
Since we started talking about future developments, could you give a couple of examples of some of the features that are going to be added to Protemos in the near future?
We use the feedbacks of our users for guidance, how we should proceed next, and the most popular request is customization and automation. For example, some users don't like or they would prefer the invoice look differently. So, or the invoice number should be different, or they need to have some specific fields for projects, or they need to display and hide some columns in the tables. So we will work on customizing this. Right now we are working on making it possible to create your own invoice templates and use it with your clients. We are working on numbering of the invoices because now the system just gives you the number and does not ask you. But in the next version you will be able to create the template for numbering, and you will be able to change the number of the invoice. Then we will work on adding custom fields. If you want to have some specific field for your project, for example, CAD tool or some other information that is not normally needed by most of the translators, then you'll be able to create that field. But this is the next step. Another thing that users are asking is automation. They need to, for example, if you are working for the same client on the same subject and for the same price, and you have even the same instruction files, so why don't you create a template and not to enter all this data again? So also in enterprise versions, some users ask, what if the system will move the files to the next stage from translator to proofreader, etc. So such kinds of automation is number two, and the third one is integration. Lots of people asking, I've mentioned already that we are integrated in SmartCAD. There are many requests for the integration with other CAD tools like MemSource, like MateCAD, also integration with file storage systems like Dropbox and Google Drive, with Google Calendar, with our other system called TQ Auditor, and with quality assessments, quality assurance system called LexiQA, and many other, and also with QuickBooks for accounting, and with internet banks. So many things to integrate. So these are the top things being asked. Also, another thing that we should do is to develop API, because when we develop API, we will make it possible for third-party developers to integrate into Protemos and even develop some additional features that they are missing in Protemos. So this is the short roadmap for the future, but this road will take years.
Yeah. I feel you. I had the idea of developing my own translation project management software. I even started designing the basic concepts, but then I gave up on the idea because I have too much work. Plus, I might also manage the online community for translators called the OpenMic. This topic is very interesting because I think there are a lot of room for improvement in terms of project management. I see it from my own workflow, my own processes, and I try to optimize them as much as possible. But I still believe there are tools to be built that are not that do not exist yet, and hopefully in the future, maybe you will develop them, maybe someone else will develop them. But I think there's going to be a lot of growth in this area.
Just share the ideas with us. Maybe we will find the way to implement them. So if you for example try Protemos and see that something is missing for you, that you feel that some feature that you desperately need, some feature that Protemos does not have, then we should know it. This is the key of development, because we cannot. I told from the beginning that on the first stage it's about imagination. You imagine something and you make something, and you think and you imagine the reaction of users, but it's different. But most often the reaction is different, and then you should, when you have the first version of the tool, then you should watch the reaction and you should listen. What is missing? The users will tell you what to do next. Because some of the ideas did not even came to my mind when I was developing it, when I was thinking about the development. But now I see that there are lots of things to work on, because different companies and different translators, different legislation, different processes, they will all require different functions in the tool.
Yeah.
So what are the most common problems translators face during project management, and how can Protemos help them solve it?
I think the most if the translator has many clients and they write simultaneously, and he completes the same project, several projects for several clients at a time, and then he'll need to track the time to make sure that he meets the deadline. So he can always check. The second one is to control the payment. I think this is the most sensitive issue, because some clients pay immediately and some would prefer to pay in 2 months, in 3 months. Some would wait for half a year, and you need some kind of tracking system to see that, because you may just forget about $20 that you that you should be paid 3 months ago, because you have lots of things happening in your work and in your personal life. You just forget about that $20. But if you have 10 such clients who forget to pay you $20, then you are losing 200. And the system, by the way, the system reminds you that there is that some invoices overdue, and you can contact your client immediately and ask what's problem, and to track them to take some actions.
I have a question. Does the system also remind you to send invoices? Because my problem is that my clients are good clients and they usually pay me on time, but I sometimes forget to send invoices for those $20 or for small amounts.
You can just okay, in the system you can filter different kinds of data. For example, you can filter the receivables for the client. You can display only uninvoiced receivables and then invoicing. So once a week you can just go to the invoicing part of the system and check what you have not yet invoiced, and you can see that you have $20 for this clients, $40 for this clients, so you can just create invoice for this. And speaking about the reminder, we can add it, but no one was yet asking us, because
that's probably idea for a new feature. It's something like remind about sending an invoice 2 weeks after finishing the project. So,
yes, it's a good idea.
So you have two user groups. You have freelance translators and you have enterprises translation agencies. What are the biggest challenges that translation agencies face, and how does your software help them solve it?
There are two kinds of. Okay, first I'll tell about the obvious thing. Every business needs a system. Because when business grows, you cannot keep it here. Because first because you are human, you just have 8 hours or okay, maximum 16 hours to work if you are crazy enough. But if you want to work 16 hours, but if you don't, then you need to find some effective ways. So you have to track everything. It's even more complicated than freelancer, because freelancer just has to manage the communication with the clients, while the agency has to manage the communication with the employees and freelancers, subcontractors. It's more complicated, and if you do not manage it, then you at a certain stage you just cannot you stop understanding what is going on in your company. If you do not manage, and if you do not have a good system of bookkeeping, of recording, of tracking the payment, then you won't be able to grow, because some people tell that I'm too busy to improve. But if you don't improve, then then you will always be busy. It's a management. It applies for every person. It applies even for me. And at the time, I can see that sometimes I need to manage things more effectively, to have more free time, and to have more time for more strategic things. If translation agency is always like a house of fire, when you have to manage the project, when you have to watch things to prevent things from falling on your head, then you don't have time to improve. So you need to delegate information from your head into some system, into something. It could be Excel spreadsheet, the simplest solution, but Excel does not have so many functions, so many coordinations, and so many integrations. Then you need something more complicated. It's a matter of growth. If you do not think like a big company, then you will not become a bigger company. If you do not, if you are a small company, you think, I don't need that kind of things. I'm okay with my Excel spreadsheets. I'm okay with the email. Who cares? Everything's under control. But things are under control because you're small. If you become a bit bigger, then everything crashes. So if you adopt such system when you are small, then you'll be ready for the growth. That's the idea. That's why even small translation agencies would need such kind of system.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with what you've said. But I also think that well, probably some when you're a company, you probably want to grow, but even if we imagine that there are some companies that prefer to stay small and not to expand in terms of, I don't know, hiring more people and stuff, then such tools as Protemos will probably help them just save more time and then spend it either on doing paid work, because invoicing and project management is basically not something you get paid for, even as a company. And then you will have more time to either do more work or just to, I don't know, enjoy yourself.
Yes, you can work. Yeah, you can work 5 hours a day instead of 8.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you delegate part of your work to computer, to robots. So people, now people are afraid of robots because robots will take our work. We'll start translating. We'll start managing everything. But actually, what robots can do, they can just create the same value and making you work less. And you'll still have the same not earnings, but possibilities to use some material things when more work is done by the robots. You'll just have more free time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, this probably applies more to freelance translators than to agencies, but still, I think it's a great thing. And speaking about robots taking our work, they will probably take less creative work. So I don't know, probably someone enjoys invoicing or things like that, or sending a lot of emails to clients, chasing them for payments. But
yes, that's boring part of the job.
Exactly. Yeah.
And why you should spend time on this? You should spend like 10 or 15 minutes per day for this and not more. But if you don't track anything, then one day you'll have some problem with some invoice which is lost, and you don't remember what kind of job was that, and you'll have to dig it for hours to understand what happened 4 months ago with that client. And you lose. Eventually, you will lose half of the day. But if you spend those 15 minutes, then you'll have more free time in the future. It's that concept from Stephen Covey about about urgent and important things.
Yeah.
If you do important things which are not urgent, then you will not have problems with then they will not become urgent over some time.
Yeah. We have a question from one of our viewers. Elif asks, as freelancers who need to get organized but often fail to do so, switching to a new type of software is very difficult. Do you have a workflow for newbies? You actually mentioned that Protemos is really easy to start using, but could you expand on that a little more?
Okay, so creating an account takes like 2 or 3 minutes. you press sign up button, and then you fill in your languages, specializations, and some payment info, payment methods, how the client should pay to you, and then you have the account. So it's just 3 minutes. After that, you may go to the website, and you can watch. You can go to our wiki, and you can watch the video that we have created for freelancers. It's 30 minutes, and it describes all the features of the software. So you'll need to of course you'll need to spend some times, but it's not hours. I think that 1 hour is more than enough to understand how it works. It's you have 15 minutes video. If you watch it and try to reproduce the steps in the real system, you'll understand very well how it works. Also, we have a quick start guide for freelancers, so the freelancers can check it. When you register an account in Protemos, you'll get the welcome message from the system and a couple of links to video and to quick start guide. Still, you'll have to spend some time, like half an hour or hour, but then everything should be clear. This is one of the main stoppers. You mentioned that it takes time to learn, and some people stop at that point. And I know that many users, even of every software, they got interested, they start, and if everything is not understood from the very beginning, then they quit. Perhaps if they find alternative, it's not always about Protemos. If there are other tools, if they find some alternatives which are easier to understand, then I'll be interested to know why. But if they just do not want to discover any tools, because any tool would require training, then how would you develop? This concept of being educated has changed. Even if 100 years ago or even 50 years ago, the educated person is someone who studied at the university in his 20s. Now, educated person is someone who studies for the whole life. The tools develops, the world changes so rapidly, and you have no choice. You have to discover something new. You have to invest. If you learn something, you invest. And if you don't invest, eventually you will have zero return of investment. In 20 years, you will not understand what is happening around, why these people are behind that way. So, like it or not, everyone has to learn. Of course, we try to make it quicker. We try to keep it simple, but we have not yet reached zero simplicity, unfortunately.
Well, because zero simplicity provides no development, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you have zero simplicity, you don't have a product.
Yeah. Zero simplicity is doing nothing. Training nothing.
Exactly.
Doing the same.
Simplest thing in the world.
Yeah, doing the same as you've been doing for the past few years, as your father did, as your grandfather did. So that's the simplicity. But the world is not simple anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. User accommodation is probably one of the biggest challenges of any product, and this is something I have experienced when developing the OpenMic as an online community for translators. There is always a room for improvement to make things simpler, make things easier to understand, and it's a never-ending process in my point of view. You can always create more videos. You can always create easier ways to get support. You can create a forum or wherever. There is always something you can do in terms of making it even simpler and simpler. But I guess it has to be unilaterally agreed that if you're getting into something, expect that you have to learn.
Yeah, but you'll have the result. This investment will return. If you invest 1 hour in learning the tool for keeping your activity, your business activity organized, then you'll save dozens, hundreds of hours over the next several years. But if you're too busy to spend an hour right now, then you will be spending that time over and over again, and you'll be losing that time. You know, it's true in every aspect of life. It's and it's not about. I emphasize once again, there are many tools. There's at least not many, but several tools that's suitable for this purpose, and the freelancers may select of them. But at least they have to check any of them. If you want to select something, you have to check any of them. But you need to spend time on discovering the differences and the advantages and disadvantages of each tool.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one last question. We are already over an hour, and combined with 20 hours of waiting for you, we've been here for 1 hour and a half. Yeah, but I still have the one last question for you, and I think it's an important one. How come Protemos is free, and what's the catch?
Okay, it's the idea of first, when we were developing, we were going to make it chargeable for the freelancers, but then we decided that we will make it free because for the following reason. First, we're the new tool, and we want to get famous as soon as possible, and we are still trying to. That could be a good marketing step. Second, if we help some translators to become agencies in the future, then they will upgrade and become our clients. If we help them. I think that's fair. Secondly, when you generate the documents in Protemos, invoices and quotes and POs, there is a little link in the bottom that the document is generated by Protemos. So it's another marketing channel. So because many translators are working for translation companies, and this could be a kind of advertisement that we are working in. So we consider this as a marketing step and marketing channel. And some freelancers are asking us, what if one day you'll just shut it down and tell pay to us? I may assure that we will never cut off the features which are available for free. If one day we decide to make some super freelance version with some unique features, with some unique additional features, we're still considering doing something of that sort. But even if we do this, we will not cut off the light for those who used to the features. So if we start selling something, we will start selling some additions, but not taking away what the users have. So if you have the account, you have the features, stay assured that you'll have it for as long as Protemos will exist.
That's a very fair and transparent approach.
Yeah.
And I also think that kind of marketing works great, especially like the how you're saying that you are going to help freelancers to become agencies if they want, and then they will become their clients. I just love that. That's great.
Yes, it's the idea the idea behind the free version. And also, in now there are lots of free tools in the internet, and sooner or later someone would have released similar tool for the freelancers. So I decided, why don't we do it first? And I know that one of other providers of similar desktop tools, they made freelance. They made their freelance version free too. And I think it could be because of us, because we provide it for free. Then they decided that they should compete for the audience. So maybe we launched some domino effect. I don't know, but still there are lots of paid tools, so anyone can check it. Speaking about the money behind it, when I started to create this tool, I was not thinking about financial side as the primary ones, because as I told, I was managing the translation company, a successful one. It's still successful one, and I needed and I just wanted it was a way to exercise creativity. And the primary goal was to make something that would be useful. And then if it starts bringing cash, that's cool. But that's the second. That would be the second step. First, we should do something that the translators would like. And that's so we're still working on it, and we're still not thinking about making it super profitable, but we'll just need some payments for the licenses to keep the project going. So that's the main reasons why we are not giving it to anyone, because we have to pay to programmers.
Yeah. We have a great comment from Marianne. She says, "Great discussion. You got me excited to use my Protemos account. Thank you, guys." So I hope Marianne is not the only one. And then I guess it's a great result of our today's episode. So yeah, we've got the second one. Joe Snow wants to use Protemos account too. So I think it's a good point to wrap up our today's episode. I want to thank everyone who joined us today. I want to thank you, Volodymyr, for being so open and transparent and so enthusiastic about your product. It's always great to talk to people who are passionate about what they do. Well, to anyone watching this in the recording, please don't forget to check out the link of our sponsor at smartcat.ai. It's the first link in the description. Also, please don't forget to share this episode with your friends and colleagues, because they might not know about this tool and they will be also happy to find out about it. And don't forget to check our website at translatorsOnAir.com and subscribe to our newsletter so that you don't miss future episodes. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you for your attention. Bye.
Bye-bye.